Know thyself, the ancient aphorism that is present more than ever right now. Hi, my name is JJ Ruescas, and in this quick video, we will discover how to operationalize this ancient aphorism. Know thyself is an aphorism that has been around for several thousands of years. Philosophers in Greece and across the story have been trying to apply this truth that is so pervasive to each one of us. Even nowadays, it's encouraged to know oneself. We all know that. But how I see things is that it is more an aspirational desire than an operational implementation. And we think that we know ourselves because we may know what we like and we do not like. But that is just a fraction of what knowing oneself means. I venture to think that the majority of people are far away from knowing themselves. We may know a fraction of ourselves, but rarely we get into deeper understanding of what makes us the person who we are and also the drivers that motivate our behavior. The consequences are very clear. We get into physical, psychological, and emotional distress, and the majority of time, it's us that wants to blame about that. A clear example of lacking understanding about ourselves is the fact that many times we get into emotional triggers by similar situations, or what I would call patterns, and we do not realize about them until a while later, or probably even we will never realize. Another example is physical pain by lack of movement or by eating certain foods. And by enduring that pain over and over, we think that we are actually exercising a muscle when it's clearly a lack of understanding of how we operate at our best. So now let's start to think how to implement the Know Thyself approach. First, we must understand the principle of the two hats. The two hats imply that we must wear two hats at the same time all the time. What do I mean by this? Well, the first hat is the scientist hat. With this one, we become curious about ourselves and we start creating hypotheses on our behavior, on our body functions, on our psyche, etc. And we also design experiments to learn from whatever data that we may have collected. At the same time, the second hat is the guinea pig hat. Yes, I know, we also must become the subject in this research. With this hat, we dive into the experiments not knowing what will happen, being open to any outcomes and also avoiding self-judgment. I know that this one sounds like a paradox, becoming the scientist and guinea pig at the same time. Nevertheless, this is what we can and must do in order to truly know ourselves. With this in mind is that we become an explorer of the self, or self-explorer, right? And with this, we can dive into different terrains that compose the different parts of ourselves. The first terrain is the physical. The second one is the psychological, and the third one is the emotion. Very different terrains, but that they are very intertwined at the same time. Now, how do we get this philosophical and abstract idea to practical terms? Well, first of all, and put bluntly, if there is no data recollection of any type, then it's not going to be possible to find patterns within ourselves. Now, this is where technology comes handy. Starting with a pencil and a paper, you can take notes of your thoughts, of your daily emotions on a journal. And if you want to simplify and improve your journaling skills, check my Day Zero journal here. I know that it's old school tech, and that is okay. That's how every single self-explorer starts, with a pencil and a paper and probably a date at the top of the page. That's it. Now, let's take it to the next level. And this is what I call Know Thyself 2.0. Nowadays, we live in times when technology has been improved so dramatically that we can use it not only for communication or for videos like this, but also to start collecting data from ourselves, many times fully automated or with partial automation. If you would like to take, for example, notes about your thinking, your daily thinking, you can, like I mentioned, use an old notepad, or you can start taking notes in a note-taking app tool, and you can find more about that in my Second Brain video, also in the links below, where you can access your thoughts from every single place that you need. And more importantly, you can capture your thoughts, those ones that must be part of your daily journal, whether in the laptop or when you are on the go with your phone, right? So that's referred to the mental part. And so far, it is partially a manual process, but it is very, very useful because everything is collected there and you can later go and check for any patterns that you may find. So what about understanding our emotions and body? This is when things get simpler. For example, keep a record of your own emotions, or what I call tracking your emotions, is simplified by the usage of apps like How We Feel, my personal recommendation, or MoodFit. Apps like this remind you during the day to track your emotional state, and after a few days, they will show you the stats of the types of emotions that you experience the most, and probably you can start creating some insights or gathering some information and creating hypotheses from that data. Finally, tracking the body is becoming easier and easier. Starting with your phone, this is constantly tracking your steps during the day. You can also start incorporating other devices, not only your phone, to track daily steps. For example, in my case, one of my favorite devices is the Oura Ring. With this ring, I can track anytime completely automatically my sleep and also my activity during the day. Based on that, not only assess the data, but also assess my own subjective perception of how I'm feeling and create a conclusion based on those two sources of information, right? Another device that you can use is, for example, a sensor to track your glucose in the arm, for example, the Freestyle Libre, which is tracking constantly your glucose over the day, especially important if you are into some kind of nutrition experiments. Or another one that you can use is also the Polar chest band. The Polar helps you track your heartbeat during exercise or even at rest. And based on that, you can make assumptions or create experiments or even experiment with your own breath to assess if it affects your heartbeat or not. Regardless of your preferred ways of tools, what it matters is data collection. Now, the majority of the people miss a key important part of knowing thyself, and it is after collection, you need to invest a little bit of time reviewing the data that you collected. Now, that's how you can find patterns in your behavior, your emotions, and your body functions. In other words, you need time for introspection. So, where to start? This is my recommendation. Number one, pick any territory that you would like to learn more about yourself, your psychology, your emotions, or your body. 2, pick a tool that you would like to capture data. From journaling with pencil and paper, using apps in your phone, or using devices like the ones that I showed you. Anything will work. 3, time box your data collection. For example, 7 to 10 days where you will collect data without making any judgments. 4th, at the end of that time, take 10 minutes to review the data that you collected. I bet that you will discover things that you didn't know about yourself. So, this is it for you to start as a self-explorer and implement a tangible Know Thyself 2.0. And I'm curious to know about what you discovered. So reach out with comments, questions, and more importantly, your own discoveries. I'll be waiting for you, and let's keep up the conversation. In the meantime, keep learning and keep optimizing. See you next time.